This is like that, you know, the thing that people share all the time on social media, like it's a Halloween costume and it's like conservative guy scared of cities. Like he's the living embodiment of that right now.
MAGA goon Benny Johnson continues to double and triple and quadruple down on the idea that Washington, D.C. is some crime-ridden post-apocalyptic wasteland out of a science fiction movie, and it's just not true. Kyle Kulinski broke all this down on his show. We're going to take a look at clips of Kyle Kulinski talking about Benny Johnson as well as clips from Benny Johnson's show. I have my thoughts to share on this too. Let's get into it together.
So remember, we talked about Benny Johnson recently. Benny Johnson is a MAGA pundit, and he was in a little hot water recently because apparently his YouTube channel was growing at like triple the rate of anybody else on YouTube in politics, but come to find out that at the same time, his views were going down. Now, as somebody who's in YouTube, I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever, that's bullshit. That means there's some inauthentic behavior happening there. Either he's buying bots or there's some weird shit going on where, you know, he's making it look like, oh, my channel's growing at a record pace. But that doesn't happen. If your views are staying the same or going down, your subs are not going to hit, you know, record growth where you're doubling or tripling the closest political person to you. That doesn't happen. So clearly there was some fuckery going on there. And nobody should be surprised because remember, Benny Johnson is the guy who worked with Tenet Media, that company run by Lauren Chen, and they were taking money directly from the Russian government. And so Benny was getting paid through Tenet Media by the Russian government, and he was part of that scandal, along with Tim Pool, along with Dave Rubin, along with Matt Christensen, I believe, and some others. So this is who this guy is. Now, he's also just fucking boring. Can we just call it what it is? He's fucking boring. He's like, it's so vanilla, it's so like, just like standard MAGA garbage, just riding Trump's dick on a daily basis. And remember, this guy's also, funny enough, a closet case. I remember when he tweeted he tweeted this thing that was like, can you believe the ads on this website? And the ad was like some gay singles cruise thing. And people had to reply to him and be like, dude, those are targeted ads. Meaning exactly what you think it means. So here he is. He's talking about Trump taking over D.C., federalizing D.C., sending in all the federal law enforcement and shit. And of course, he's happy as hell over it because he's a total hack and he believes in nothing. And here's what he ends up saying.
President Trump is doing God's work by refederalizing D.C. By the way, D.C. was set up as a federal city. It's in the Constitution. It's how our founding fathers intended it. These laws are still fully enforceable. They've never been rescinded or amended. President Trump and the executive, through the House of Representatives, controls Washington, D.C. President Trump controls budgets. House of Representatives and Speaker of the House is technically and historically the lead of D.C. That still remains on the books. What happened to D.C., especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. And so what President Trump is doing is reasserting control of not only our nation's capital, but truly the seat of Western civilization. There's one final little note here that kind of blends outside of the personal, which is that Washington, D.C. is a representation of the work of your forefathers and mine. It is, by every measure, a very beautiful city architecturally. It is a sacred city. It is a sovereign place with the monuments to great men and women who've sacrificed far more than you or I could ever dream for this country. It must be preserved because the peoples of Earth come here by the millions per year in order to witness the success or failures of our systems. And if you are a proud patriot and you love this country and you wish for it to be reflected honorably to the peoples of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested.
Come again? Come again, one more time.
Patriot, and you love this country, and you wish for it to be reflected honorably to the peoples of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean.
Swept clean?
I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed.
Entire neighborhoods need to be emptied and need to be bulldozed. Gee, I wonder who he's talking about when he says, is he talking about the rich white neighborhoods? Do they need to be emptied? Do they need to be bulldozed? Is that what you're talking about? The places with mansions, 6,000 square foot homes, 4,000 square foot homes. Is that what you're talking about? It's not hard to figure out what he means.
And I'm sure Benny Johnson wouldn't suggest that we bulldoze the neighborhoods of all the politicians doing insider trading. Of course, he would say that with Nancy Pelosi, but none of the Republicans doing insider trading. They wouldn't want to go after them. And why does Benny Johnson sound like he's from a science fiction movie, like a alien from another planet coming? The people of Earth come to Washington, D.C. It's just such a weird way to present everything. And the Founding Fathers. I get so tired of hearing about the Founding Fathers from MAGA, from right-wingers, from Republicans. Yeah, the Founding Fathers they were smart men for their times, and they did some good things. But can we never improve anything in the country because of these guys that lived hundreds of years ago? These guys who didn't have electricity or indoor plumbing or airplanes or televisions or cars. And if you were able to drop them into 2025 Washington, D.C., they would be curled up in a fetal position on the ground because they would be so frightened of all the technology around them and the sounds and everything, and they'd be talking about witchcraft. Those Founding Fathers
emptied and bulldozed. He, of course, is talking about the black areas. He's, of course, talking about the low-income areas. Guys, we've said it before, we'll say it again. You ever heard of the imperial boomerang? That's what we're witnessing here. The imperial boomerang is this notion that whatever the empire does abroad to innocent people, it will eventually come back at home. And that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. Exactly in how it's happening in Gaza. Now you got MAGA assholes who are going, let's empty out these neighborhoods and let's bulldoze everything. That's like what's happening in the West Bank, actually, is a better example. Gaza, it's an outright genocide and an ethnic cleansing. But the West Bank is like mission creep. You have people forcibly kick somebody out of the home, take over the home. This is like, so you want to treat D.C. like the West Bank, is what you're telling me. You want to treat D.C. like the West Bank and kick out all the black people, right? Oh my God. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He's not even hiding it. This is ethnic cleansing. He's calling for ethnic cleansing.
Need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested that you just need to, you're just going to have to crack down.
Violent crime is down like 30%. It's literally at a historic low right now. Historic low. In fact, Trump was bragging in May about how DC crime is at a historic low. Now all of a sudden, it's the worst thing ever. Why? Because he wants to do power for the sake of power, control for the sake of control, fascist takeover for the sake of a fascist takeover.
You're going to have to do the job, and you're going to have to get the crime out of Washington. That's my personal experience. Don't believe the bullshit that you hear online from some reporters. Oh, crime's down in DC. Well,
that's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And he knows that's a fact. He's lying because that's what he does. He's a paid liar.
My infant nearly died.
I don't believe you.
In a drug fire.
I definitely don't believe you.
After mass shootings.
I definitely. My infant nearly died in a drug fire. After mass shootings. In a crack house. Where 17 gang members showed up with machine guns. And they shot an RPG at our face. Like, what are you doing, bro? What is this? Bro, really? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. He's got this whole spiel. Look, I'm in Washington, D.C. half the time. It's fine. I don't know. Look, I'm from New York. I know it. New York, certainly when I was growing up, there was definitely more crime at that time, right? You guys know in the 90s, and crime was up across the board in the 90s, and there's speculation that's tied to the leaded gasoline that was in the atmosphere, which interesting enough, right? But DC is not bad, right? I mean, when I was in LA like 5 years ago or whatever, there were more homeless people in LA. I think crime was higher there. In DC, like, it's really not that bad. This is bullshit.
So no, DC is not safe. And I can tell you this as a matter of fact, it is one of the worst, most racist narco states and welfare states imaginable. And that
what the narco states and what are you don't even know what you're saying. You don't even know what you're saying. I said Trump can fart out any fucking dumbass idea, and these idiots will just gobble it up and run with it as if it's the most brilliant thing in the world.
In that neighborhood that I would walk every single day, racial epithets were screamed at us. Rocks.
Shut the fuck up. No, they weren't. It's the rich white people who are oppressed. Gosh golly, it's the rich white people who don't get a fair shake, and they say bad, naughty words to us. Poop face. They say mean, naughty words. Bad poop face. Oh my God. You hear this guy?
I'll tell you this, as a matter of fact, it is one of the worst, most racist narco states and welfare states imaginable. In that neighborhood that I would walk every single day, Racial epithets were screamed at us. Rocks were thrown at us because we were white people.
I do not believe any of this. None of it. None of it. I've been to the supposed bad areas of D.C. They ain't that bad, dog. I swear to God. Oh, my God. This is like that, you know, the thing that people share all the time on social media? Like, it's a Halloween costume, and it's like conservative guy scared of cities. Like, he's the living embodiment of that right now.
This city is a sunken place. It is an unsafe place. I mean, if that's what happens to me, imagine what happens to somebody who's like visiting here from a foreign country.
They don't care about the people visiting from foreign countries. That's another problem that we have under Donald Trump's second term. Nobody from foreign countries wants to come to the United States because they're afraid of getting thrown in some kind of a gulag somewhere. And MAGA doesn't care about that. So all of a sudden, Benny Johnson is going to act like he and MAGA care about people visiting from foreign countries? Get the hell out of here. But Kyle Kulinski is exactly right. And this is the game plan that they all follow. All of these MAGA pundits like Benny Johnson, and then the people who watch their shows parrot all of this. And you can present 17 different papers showing crime statistics showing as being down. And they just say, well, you know, my friend, he lives in Washington, D.C., and every day when he steps outside, there's 27 gang members waiting to beat him up. And they murdered his family. You know, so Benny Johnson and MAGA, they're immune to facts. They are immune to reality. They're presenting their own reality. And sadly, millions and millions of people are going along with that and believing all of it. And it just isn't true. But statistics mean nothing to them. It's whatever they believe it to be. Whatever Benny Johnson believes it to be. And he throws out these BS stories that he probably read in a magazine. I agree with Kyle Kulinski. I don't think these things actually happened to Benny Johnson. He made all this stuff up. But this is the reality that we're getting with MAGA and with Trump 2.0. Up is down. And, you know, it just amazes me on a daily basis. We get nothing from this administration. It's all gloom and doom. Everything is terrible. Everybody's gaming the system. Everybody's a criminal, except you. You know, you, Benny Johnson, and his followers, you're the good guys doing everything right, but everybody else is a criminal and they're trying to kill you, and everything's a scam and everybody's a scammer, and nothing from this administration to improve anybody's life. There's never any real talk about improving healthcare, you know, to make it to where people don't have to worry about getting bankrupt, or increasing the chance that you can actually retire or be able to afford to buy a house. All the talk of higher education is about how it's woke and it's indoctrinating kids and poisoning their minds. Nothing about making college more affordable. And so Benny Johnson and all of these MAGA creeps, all these MAGA goons have to parrot this stuff from Donald Trump that all of our cities, of course the blue ones, they don't go after any of the southern red cities. They don't ever talk about them, or any of the cities in Ohio like Cleveland and Columbus that have worse crime rates than Washington, D.C. does. No, they don't talk about those places because those are in red states. It's just so disingenuous. It's tiresome. Benny Johnson is nothing but a goon and a propagandist. I don't know if you saw it the other day. I did a video about it. Benny Johnson was part of the White House press corps, asking questions like he's in North Korea praising the dear leader. It's insanity and it's obscene. But let me know what you think about all of this. How do you feel about what Benny Johnson is saying here? What do you think of Kyle Kulinski's breakdown of all of it? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.